Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'd like to talk about something that's very dear to our hearts, and something that really should be in the Wwe 2K18 game. Everybody's been asking for it for a very long time to come back into the series, and that is our beloved GM mode. Been an unbelievable run for the series so far, and 2K have really improved on some things that were in the game before, but they've removed a lot of things as well. I'd like it if they put GM mode back in, not as it was before, but as an updated version, because there's something that you need to know about GM mode. It could get boring. Now I know some people are going to hate me for this, but hear me out, okay? There's a reason for this, okay? GM mode in its simple days was just as it was always going to be. It was always about buying the right people at the right time, trying to put on as many matches as possible that could entertain a show. You'd have to buy storylines, you'd have to buy scripts, you'd play through them. Well, yeah, you'd always seem to lose viewership to the other brand. Whether you were playing for a Raw or you were playing a Smackdown, it would never quite go your way. Since then, 2K have stripped things back. We've had new game modes put in, such as Universe, Showcase. Things have been spiced up a lot, and especially with the addition of My Career, it's really hit another peak. But GM mode is long overdue. It needs to be put back in. This is what I think it should look like though. Maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. I'd still like to hear your comments down below. Just let me know what you think. First things first, Universe mode is fantastic. I love it. A lot of people have a problem with it, a lot of people love it. I love being able to put in my own shows. I love being able to download custom superstars from the superstar creators online, because we've got some fantastic people out there who do it wonderfully. Wonderfully! Matt Hardy editions have been brilliant. Jeff Hardy, the broken gimmicks, brilliant. It's nice seeing RVD in there, and obviously you get to see CM Punk again. But really, what I'd like to use Universe for is, I'd like to split the universe in half. I'd like there to be 2 universe modes. The first one that I would like to see would be the universe mode that we know and love. This time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to call that Universe Unlimited. Technically, what you're playing as right now is an unlimited sandbox version of what GM mode was, but without the competition. You'd run all of the shows, you'd play all of the matches, and you basically just live out your day-to-day life as a GM of the entirety of the WWE brand. But the second version of Universe mode that I'd like to have on there would be Universe GM. Now this would be a more limiting version of Universe mode. The idea behind it would be that you would take ownership of one of the brands, whether that be Raw, SmackDown, or even NXT. Looking to bring up the next batch of talent. You'd start off the same way, with a limited amount of funds to try and buy contracts for certain people, but also you'd have the opportunity to bring up cheaper people from NXT to try and elevate them, which means that their stats would have to be effective in the long run. Whether or not you'd be able to earn points with a system to upgrade the characters, it'd be another thing entirely. What you're essentially trying to do, well, for lack of better words, you would be running a WWE version of FIFA's manager mode. Let's be honest, FIFA's manager mode is brilliant at what it does. Train players, buy players, transfer players out, make trades, change teams if you want to. This is the sort of thing that we should be aiming for with the WWE GM mode in the next 2K18 game. We should be looking at having that level of simulation in there. I would personally like to see the fact that you be the general manager and you be approached by one of the commissioners, whether you be approached by Stephanie McMahon to run Raw, Shane McMahon to run SmackDown, or Triple H to run NXT. Along with that, I'd like to see the opportunity for money and bonuses go up, because at the moment, obviously NXT will be looking at getting their talent from elsewhere, which means they'd have to have a pool. Whether or not you could use created wrestlers in that NXT roster would be another thing as well. Maybe the idea for you, if you were running NXT, is to create future superstars to get called up to the main roster, and that would allow you to get points later on in the game, so that not only do your superstars get called up to the main roster, maybe you get called up to the main roster to run either Raw or SmackDown brand. It would certainly give a bit more depth to the game. If you had to start in NXT as a general manager, and then you did such a good job that you got offered a job either running Raw or SmackDown, and you got a choice, that means that you could see the superstars that you built up in NXT on either Raw or SmackDown. and depending on how you treated them, whether you gave them main event pushes or title runs, depends on how they react to you as the Raw GM. Will they want to stay on the same brand as you, or will they request a transfer to go to the other brand and be a rival? There's so many opportunities for GM mode now. I really think this could open the door for something that would be absolutely fantastic, especially when you factor in the fact that you could have injuries now as well, which means that if one of your superstars does get injured during a match, you then have to stop that storyline and maybe put in somebody else. Also having the addition of trying to bring back legends for a short period of time, or trying to book WrestleMania or your allotted pay-per-views, trying to win over the fans like you did in the previous GM modes in other WWE games. Since they already have a rating system for the last 2 editions of the game, that would be something that they could look to improve upon in GM mode for WWE 2K18. Having that star rating would be crucial as to whether or not you'd win audience members over to your brand. And then later on, after WrestleMania, you might be given the opportunity to switch brands yourself again. Or even we could have a custom universe GM mode, where instead of just having Raw, Smackdown and NXT, if you wanted to make your own shows, such as New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, you could then be the GM of those as well. It would legitimately give you another reason not to just hang around in the WWE constantly, and that you would see players being traded around all over. You'd also see the creator wrestlers being brought in, being fired, and also their stats going up and up or down and down depending on age. It'd also be a nice touch if some of them were to be retired as well. The mode that I'd like to call Universe GM would be a worthy addition to WWE 2K18, and it would open the door for as many people to buy it as possible, if anything, just to relive our old days as we used to back on the WWE Smackdown vs Raw series. But to be honest, it's never been more likely right now. Since the draft last year, it seems more and more likely that a GM mode will make it into WWE 2K18, especially if they keep out the showcase mode. With the improvements to my career as well, it would essentially be playing 3 different modes. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what WWE 2K18 turns out like, and I hope 2K look at putting GM mode back in the game, or at least improving on it, and maybe taking on some suggestions that I've just put out there. 2 different modes, Universe Unlimited, which is what you have at the moment where you can customize everything, and Universe GM, where you play as a GM in a universe mode that you created, and you work your way up from there. My name's Viking Size Gamer, thanks for listening. Please like, comment and subscribe below. Feel free to share this. Let's see if we can get 2K to listen to us, eh?